there, this is Charlie. I'm Charlie. This is a Module 3 assignment with the written response. The question was about gender. How should we measure gender? What is fair? What is right? And then kind of an overview of what we thought after we watched the 3 videos that were attached, doing some more research, and then taking the BSRI test that was linked. I did all of those things. I was a little skeptical at first that I wouldn't know how to express my views on the topic in a respectful way. After I took the BSRI questionnaire and watched the videos, I had more of an idea of what the question was asking and more so how I wanted to answer, because it is a little bit of a touchy subject for me because I am very set in my beliefs. But before I took the BSRI test, I was wondering what type of questions it was going to ask or things along those lines. I was thinking that I might be considered more androgynous, even though by definition that means someone usually who is born with both male and female sex parts, and they would be considered intersex, so both sexes. Or that they are considered to have reproductive organs opposite of his or her gender. I'm definitely a woman. I was born a woman, but the reason I was worried about the test is because I have always been considered a tomboy. I love more masculine things along the lines of hunting. I love camping. When I was little, I would play outside with all the boys and play with the bugs, and it didn't really freak me out. I'd play in the mud. I played with my brother, but I also grew up with brothers, so that was normal for me. They didn't play with Barbies. They didn't have toys to play with like I did, and I didn't want to be alone, so I would have rather played with them with the bugs in the mud than in my room alone. But yeah, this led me to kind of always be considered a tomboy, even though I do love the girly things. I love, being compassionate and being soft and feminine, and I love, going shopping and wearing makeup and doing my hair and all of the girly things that are considered with being a female. However, I do also like more male type activities that someone would consider to be male type. Basically, after the BSRI test, I was considered to be androgynous, which I do not agree with because I'm not. However, I do understand how it could come off that way because I am feminine, I'm a woman, but I do have a stronger personality, which with the questions it was asking, they were more along the lines of how we see ourselves and our personality. So, are we soft? Are we compassionate? How often do we tell the truth? Things like, it even asks you if you have a strong personality, which I would say that I do almost always. Things along the line, are you easy, are you friendly? Are you easy to interact with? Things like that, which I feel like that's a little bit hard to test solely for someone's gender, because a man can be compassionate and soft and shy and caring, and so can a woman, or a woman can also have a strong personality and be a little bit more aggressive or competitive because that's, nature, or that's how they were raised or whatever, but that doesn't make them necessarily male or female, in my opinion. So moving on, the next part I wrote about was, after the testing, I didn't agree with the BSRI testing. I think that it is more psychological than asking questions about certain personality traits, because again, not all women are soft and not all men have strong, aggressive personalities. I believe it is much more complex than personality, especially when dealing with serious situations such as sports or competing for a title like the Olympics, for instance. I don't think there's anything wrong with a male or female joining a sport or a group that is predominantly male or female. I think a girl should be able to play football in high school if she chooses to or if she wants to. And I do believe that a male, shouldn't be ridiculed for becoming a cheerleader or wanting to be a dancer or on the dance team in high school, for instance. However, I do think that they should be aware that with doing these things, there are always going to be people who are judging you or, saying that it shouldn't be allowed regardless. It doesn't, matter what the law is or what it is considered to be right. There are people who are always going to have a different opinion, and that's just life. However, when it comes to winning titles and medals, say the Olympics, or if they're competing in a track meet in high school for, 400-meter run or whatever it might be, I don't think there should be a transgender who was born a male, transition to female, who is competing against these girls in a sprint type race and winning in the female side. I think that they should have to compete in the male side, and I don't think it's right for them to be winning the female titles. And I will go more into that in just a second. I read a study online with doing research from a Dr. Burton, and he said men are physically stronger than women who have, on average, less total muscle mass, both in absolute terms and relative to total body mass. The greater muscle mass of men is a result of the testosterone-induced muscular hypertrophy. There was another one, too. Men have greater cardiovascular reserve, with larger hearts, greater lung volume per body mass, and higher red blood cell count, and higher hemoglobin. These two things alone can enhance a male to perform better in sports such as racing or, anything, especially in track, I feel. Racing, jumping, running, speed, endurance. The lungs, cardiovascular, the muscle has a lot to do with that. So I don't think it would be fair if someone who is naturally inclined and born with more to be racing against someone who is not, because they're not the same gender. However, if someone has gone through like a full transition, typically they would have had testosterone therapy or hormone therapy. So a male would have more estrogen and a female would have more testosterone if they were transitioning to the opposite sex, which the increased estrogen in a male can, cause the testosterone levels to be depleted, which is not going to give him that advantage that I just was talking about, and same for a female. This question can lead to a lot of what is right and what is fair. And in a sense, I don't really think that there's ever going to be something or a way to test or measure gender that is completely fair and right for everybody. I think the only thing we can do is make it right for more people or the majority. It's hard to kind of imagine the situation when you're not in it yourself. I can't really imagine how they feel, especially going through everything. I'm sure they're very happy with, the movements going on now. But in my own opinion, and I would love to be or have my mind changed, but in my opinion, I think the gender that you were born with the sex parts that you were born is what you are considered. I don't think it matters if you have surgery. I think you're still considered to be a male or female. I don't see scientifically any way that it can make you not what you were born. Just because you think you are one or the other, that doesn't mean that you are scientifically. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think people care a little bit too much about hurting someone's feelings than saying the truth. And I'm going to end this off with one of my favorite quotes ever, is that you don't get to be offended by science. And that is how I'm going to conclude this. Thank you.